Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. So for many of you, and I just wanted to share this with you. I'm wearing a particular color, if you can see, gold and blue, and I was actually gonna wear a different color, but today is my mom's birthday, and she passed away on the 14th 2 years ago. And so these were the colors that we celebrated her life with. So I decided to just wear these colors today. And so I want to thank you, and I promised myself I'll try not to cry today. But it is challenging. We all go through challenges. So my mom was diabetic, which led to other complications. And this is also why I'm so passionate about all of this. Thank you so much, Carmen. And so as I'm going through these slides with you, I'm sharing you the information. It's not just my words. I've done my due diligence. I am not a doctor. I'm not a practitioner. I don't claim to have any credentials on that, but as a health enthusiast, I want to make sure that I can share the knowledge that I have gathered over the years, especially with my mom's care, because I was a caretaker for her for 2 years. The second time she got a diabetic-related stroke and left her bedbound. So in the time of her care, in those almost 9 years of going through different appointments and different things, there's things I've learned along the way. Um, One of the things I want to share with you is as you're listening and you're learning, because we all learn at different stages, right? I want you to take notes. And if you're not able to take notes, you can take a screen capture of the slides I'm sharing with you, and then we can go from there. Sounds good? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share my slide with you. And towards the end of this presentation, if you have any questions at the end, feel free to place yourself on off of mute after the presentation, and I will try to address any questions that you may have that I'm able to answer. And if I'm not, then that's fine. Then I can try to get that information for you. Sorry about that. That can through someone who has that credential or those certifications, I should say. Okay, here we go. Share my slide. Awesome. So if you can see my slide, please put a thumbs up and we'll go from there. Awesome. So we talk about diabetes. What is diabetes? What's that? A lot of us hear this, but we may not know all the details of it. But I want to share with you a couple of things. We know that there are different things out there that we'll talk about, you know, family, hereditary. Sometimes you may have type 1, type 2 diabetes. You may know someone who does that, have that. Sometimes it's regulated with hormones, comes with age. Sometimes as you get older, your body changes. And my aunt actually just told us a few months ago that now she's diabetic and she just turned 70. And prior to that, she may not have known that she had the symptoms of that. And then she passed out at school. And so all of us go through different stages. And so, like I said, what I'm sharing with you today is not just about the actual conditions or the symptoms of diabetes. And we're sharing other things that we can do to sort of help us along that journey of I won't say the word fighting diabetes, but improving your quality of life with diabetes and there are some discussions through the medical society that are saying you can actually reverse type 2 diabetes. And so what I'm sharing you here on this particular day or evening is diabetes was sort of known for hundreds of years, may have been shared as diabetes, but insulin was actually discovered over 100 years ago. And more than more Canadians now have diabetes more than it was 100 years ago through the diet, through different things, stress level may trigger it. You know, that we may not have done the stats back then, but now we know that more Canadians are impacted by this and also pre-diabetic, you know, conditions or situations. So 1 in 3 Canadians have or have been diagnosed with diabetes or pre-diabetes symptoms. 1 in 2 young adults will develop diabetes in their remaining lifetime. And so this, everything I share with you, there's a source you can go back and check, do a fact check. But I found this information through my research. And, you know, many of us, we go through life and sometimes we're not mindful of the things that are happening with our body. Sometimes we put things off, thinking, oh, it'll pass. Oh, what's that? What's this? And then we sort of don't connect the dots with what's happening in our bodies until a major symptom shows up. So did you know that even with help from insulin over the past 100 plus years, diabetes is has been successful at slowing or shutting down the system. But, you know, for some people, that's not enough because it can impact, you know, it can mean blindness, it can mean heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and other symptoms related to that. And I'll share that as well in the information below. And at the bottom of my slides, you'll see where I get all this information from as I've done my homework. So there is actual infusion of a herb well, there's a herb, actually, I call it a herb, but it's a mushroom that actually has been proven over time through studies, through medical case studies, through different companies, different labs, or with with practices with their clients, the patients. They've actually have found that there's so many things that this amazing reishi has been able to help with or improve with. Now, it may look like a funny little thing on the left here. It's a little, half a picture of something. It's called Ganodoma, and it's also known as reishi in Japan and linzier in China. But it's actually an amazing mushroom that's known in the Asian or Eastern world. And so these information I'm sharing with you, it's something that has been known for centuries. It's basically, if you're from the Caribbean, we know certain herbs, what we call them bush, back home, is good for this, good for that, because your grandmother told you, or your great-grandmother told you. You know, we know things like ginseng, and we know things like something called cerasee. We know different types of leaves, like guava leaves, and all these things, soursop. We know these things because that's part of our culture. That's what we were taught. That's what we saw. So now here comes this herb. I say herb, but it's actually a mushroom that has such superpower. I call it a superhero that can help individual depending on their situation and their body, because everyone's DNA is different, everyone's body is different, and the body does not lie. What it needs, it keeps. What it doesn't, it tries to purge, like toxins, right? So my mom, diabetic, I think she was in her 50s. She sort of hid that from us, but we discovered that. And there's no right or wrong way of approaching things, how you tell your family. It's just how you feel you need to share. And so with her, she started taking the medication. In her case, she was taking, I believe it was Janumet, and then it turned to metformin. Now, if you do your homework, I'm not here to dissuade you from stop taking your medication, but there are a lot of side effects with any medication you take. And over time, some medications can impact your kidneys, can impact different things. In this case, she couldn't control her sugar levels. And if you're like you and I, when we have to take vitamins, we tend to sort of take some, forget, did I take it yesterday? Did I take it, day before? So in her defense, she had her blister pack, so to speak, with her medication, and she would take it and sometimes forget and, put it in her pocket. And so if you're not on it, it sort of gets left behind. So this is how she experienced her first diabetic related, stroke almost 9.5 years ago. And she was able to get up and walk and, sort of recover from that to at least, and what the doctors were sharing with us, about 95% almost 96% recovery with her hands, her function, um, her her memory, her walking, her speech came back. And what we did is to, in addition to the medication, is to have her switch her brand of coffee and teas because she loved coffee and teas. And so that's a daily habit. No one's going to change that from you. No one's going to tell you to stop it because your mind gravitates to what you like or what you get comfort from. So we just switched the brand from, from one brand to another, which I'll share with you what that brand is. And so when she went to check her sugar levels, her blood pressure was actually pretty good. And she had in conjunction with her medication. So when she actually stopped taking those things, unfortunately, let's say a day or 2 or 3 days, it would get out of control. So now we have a healthy medium where the mushroom is going into her body and flushing the toxins out of her body from the medication she's taking, but she's getting the actual, benefit of some of these medications. And again, I'm not an advocate for pharmaceuticals. I'm just sharing with you that this is something that she decided to consume in the way of her medication from what her doctor advised her. And then we spoke to a naturopathic doctor and we knew what the benefits of this herb was. And so we added in conjunction with it. Just like how you should have a healthy, balanced meals, healthier lifestyle, and what you eat, you drink, you sleep, all of that is in combination and can work in harmony with your wellness state. So a reason I'm sharing this, I left it on this slide so you can take a screen capture of this and do your own homework. Now, this information was provided from a third-party validation that I like to use, that naturopathic doctors and other people in the medical field like to get their source from. So, for example, we know that, diabetes can impact your insulin level, but certain foods can. Foods with a lot of antibiotics can limit the impact to your body. It sort of reduces the impact to your body, your insulin level. It becomes more insulin resistant because you eat too many foods with antibiotics. I learned this through different workshops I went with mom so I could be educated on diabetes. So consuming this, it actually helps you regulate your insulin. It's anti-diabetic. It helps with your glucose, your metabolism. It helps with decreasing your blood glucose. In some cases, it helps to reduce your body weight. Now, if there's some people who are diabetic and they find themselves losing a lot of weight, and not knowing that they're diabetic, that could be indicated that you're pre-diabetic or you already are. And this is what I've learned as well. Some people, when they have become diabetic, they have to change their whole diet, and that, of course, you're losing weight that way. But this actual mushroom helps you with, in some cases, in some body types, it helps reduce body weight. It helps also with your inflammation. Now, the body becomes inflamed, it's more acidic, more prone to illness, and so therefore it becomes inflamed. So this mushroom, this Ganoderma, helps to reverse the signs of inflammation in the body, from the brain to the body to your organs to your cells, and also helps to oxygenate your stress level in those who are diabetic. It also prevents obesity. So some people who are diabetic, they may crave, the brain will change, and of course your body changes and you may crave more things. Like I've noticed that with my mom, sometimes she craves sugar. She craves sweets, even though she's not supposed to. So there are times when the body craves something it's not supposed to have, and therefore this can impact your insulin. And as I share this with you, I'm thinking of my mom. She passed away, and what I'm sharing with you, I actually share with my mom. And I'm sharing this with you because no matter how much of a superfood you eat, or you're thinking you're taking something, that we're sharing this with you for a reason, to share a positive way of looking at health, besides taking medication. Because in most people's psyche, you think of medication, you think of illness. That's where the mind goes. But if you think of wellness, you think of the foods you need to change, the diet you need to change, the exercise you need to implement, all of these things. So when I speak to you on this wellness journey, is infusing superfoods into your diet. And reishi is not the only thing, but it's one of the most powerful with all the antioxidants and nutrients and minerals you can consume that is considered a food supplement as well as a medical mushroom. And if you look at the slide I'm sharing with you, the different types of superfoods, it's number one. I mean, there's more on in the planet, but I'm just giving you the top 10. And you can consume with anything else. You know, my friend, myself, I bake with it. She cooks with it. She has different recipes, which I'm going to steal some from her. But I love it because you can incorporate in anything that you're doing. But for my mom's sake, sometimes I don't know if you ever have this, and you may be nodding your head like this as I'm going to share this. Sometimes when the child is counseling the parent, there's a little bit of a resistance because normally it's the parent who teaches the child. So no matter how you counsel a person or you share with a person of things that you need to do, like be more active or to be able to eat right, sometimes the old habits stay in place. Because once you get to a season in your life, it's like a lot more resistance on changing your health. So, but thankfully you're here because you want to change. You want to be able to determine what can I do to have a healthier lifestyle to reverse some of the symptoms that have caused me to be in this particular condition. It doesn't have to be like an extreme condition. It could be that you just need to have more sleep. Or you need to be able to, bring down your sugar level or your your blood pressure, or you may find that your skin, something's wrong with your skin. There's so many different things that you may be thinking of, or you find that you may have anxiety, which is not about diabetes, but I'm just saying whatever you're going through, there's all Mother Nature provides us with everything that we need. We just need to ensure that it's the right fit for us. All right. Um, have you ever thought, well, I think it's like this, it's like a car. One thing goes wrong, you fix it, then something else goes wrong. Then something else goes wrong because everything is connected, just like the body. The body, the brain, the organs, the cells, everything communicates with each other. And so when one part of your body is not functioning right, signals are sent to the central nervous system. And so as we go through our life journey, you may have certain things, like in this case, for those of you who know of other people, or you may be experiencing that, or even pre-diabetic, you have certain medications you're taking, but your body's building up toxins. And this is something that's a fact. It's not something that I made up. There's toxins in the air, there's toxins in your home, there's toxins in your food, there's toxins in your body. And it impacts you. But how do you get rid of that? We sneeze, we pee, we poo, we sweat, right? Our eyes, tear ducts, tears come out. These are all ways for toxins to come out. And we all know this, and most of us do. But one of the things I noticed with my mom is the first time I found out that she was diabetic, is that they wanted her to come every 2 years to check her kidneys to ensure that the medication didn't negatively impact her kidneys, as well as her insulin level was sort of, regulated, so that her kidneys were operating correctly. My father-in-law, his kidneys failed because of a medication he was taking for cancer. My mom, her kidneys were okay, and they checked it every couple of years, and it was fine. And one of the reasons I can attest to this is that she didn't take anything else besides the medication, but consuming the beverages that I'm going to share with you, which has the infusion of the reishi. Now, is everyone going to have the same results? No, because everyone's body is different. But what I've learned along this journey with my mom is that, kidneys are, of course, they help to filter certain things like the liver, right? But, the mushroom, the reishi, Ganoderma, helps to alleviate certain conditions from the kidneys. It corrects and supports your kidney functions from being in a deteriorating state to improving it over time. It also improves, oxidating the stress level that your body can trigger if you're going through these certain conditions. Another thing as well is that when you're diabetic, you can actually have a condition called late stage renal kidney failure. And this is linked back to diabetes. That's why I mentioned in this discussion that there are other conditions besides being diagnosed as diabetic. So this mushroom, and again, these are all PubMed studies from the information below. You can copy this or print screen this and do your own diligence. But I would stress to you to search credible websites. You can't just Google, because Google has everything. Facts, lies. But if you go to these credible websites, it's more than one, but my source is PubMed, which because I've listened to other individuals who are doctors, naturopathic doctors, nutritionists, and their wellness practice, they quote PubMed studies. So this is why it became one of my favorite go-to for my research. And so if you know someone who has been impacted through diabetes, or you're going through the challenge of, your body just changing because of you being pre-diabetic, or you have to be more mindful of your food you eat and your rest and all of these things, then you will have to consider what is the best solution for me. Everyone's different. Just like a diet is different for everyone, or an exercise routine is different for everyone, you have to sit down and think, okay, what can I do to continue to build up on my education for wellness? Now, there's something called fatty liver. I don't know if you ever heard of this. My sister had it before, and also can be attributed to diabetic, or you are diabetic. Some people get it, some people don't. Now, my sister, she's not already overly, in a plus size, but we are not skinny, so to speak, or petite, I should say, for it to be technically correct. But she told me one time she had this and they wanted to put her on medication. So I gifted her a box, I think it was for Christmas, a box of the beverage we had. I think it was the coffee at the time, and she wasn't a big coffee drinker. And she would drink like half, because we're not strong coffee drinkers, we're more tea. And a few months later, I didn't know she had the fatty liver. A few months later, she called me, because she's in Mississauga in the West End. And she says, Kerry-Ann, that coffee you gave me, that's all I consumed. And I went back for my exam, I think 2 or 3 months later, and there's no more fatty liver. Now, I'm very happy. I didn't know she had it until she told me, but I gifted her the coffee for Christmas, I think. It was Christmas time. So when she came back to me, it was like towards the end of winter by phone. And I was very happy because I was able to indirectly support in her wellness journey, not knowing that she had this condition until she shared her testimony with me. Now, is it the same for everyone? No, I'm just sharing with you the testimonies that came to me, and I celebrated with her because I was so happy, because that can have other conditions. Now, this PubMed study I'm sharing with you is one of the studies that was found, but not just fatty liver, but I just wanted to highlight that because that's linked to diabetes as well. So the other conditions where the liver needs to be repaired, you can consume this reishi, even the small, the comes in 3 stages, one's called spores. And as you're going back to your doctor and doing tests, you can actually watch how the liver can be repaired by consuming a superfood that can help support the body, the organs, the cells, the blood, central nervous system. Now, I wanted to share this with you. I'm not sure why I'm showing this way, but wanted to just test you. Right? Did you know that, sorry, go back. Did you know that, the high vitamin and mineral level content in most food, you need to consume a certain amount of quantity to get the right nutrients. For example, you have oranges. I like oranges. But you need to have 7 times more of that vitamin C just to consume a little bit of Ganoderma. 15 times of the magnesium from broccoli versus a small amount of milligrams of Ganoderma. So all these are superfoods, but how much can you consume, especially when the soil is depleted? And what I like about this is that it's just switching you're consuming the same thing, except you're getting that infused into beverages that you already like. Now, Ganoderma also helps reduce inflammation, and most illnesses, either you have a leaky gut, which we're not going to delve into today, or you've been told that your body is highly acidic, which is actually inflammation in the brain, body, overall. And so where there's high levels of acidity or inflammation, you have a higher risk of, having an illness or symptoms that, your body normally doesn't have. So this study I found it's not just about diabetes. It helps with epilepsy, inflammation, neurodegeneration, diabetics, those who are going through diabetic symptoms, also helps with stress level and other things. So I like this because, in the overall scheme of things, so to speak, we have certain things that, we are told that we have to consume, knowing that there's side effects, knowing that you can have long-term illnesses because of the medications you're taking. Just want to make sure. Okay, can everyone hear me? I just want to make sure I didn't get a chance to.
I can hear you.
Awesome, thank you. I just want to ensure that we can.
Me too.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So as I continue here, I want us to think of 2025 to recalibrate, reset our health. I know that I've been a sort of like not as diligent as I was in the past. I had my self-care journey, and this is not about me, but I just want to share with you a little bit of a snippet of what happened. This is now year 4. 2 years ago, my mom passed on a week ago. And so the 14th of January, she passed, and today's her birthday. And so for me, the 2 years when she was bedridden, I took the focus off of me because I wanted to care for her at home where she was bedridden. And so I didn't get to exercise as much. I didn't get to de-stress as much in, the things I'd like to do, like meditation, to be consistent. But the one thing that was consistent with me, every day I had my cup of goodness. Every day I took my capsules with this brand. I don't really get sick per se, and I'm not sort of tooting my own horn, but I'm thankful, even though I didn't have as much sleep in those 2 years, because, get up in the morning, take care of her, take a little bit of nap, sleep, then, take care of her in the afternoon, and then in the evening before she goes to bed, and still have to work in between. So for me, my body wasn't performing as optimal best with the practice that I had in place for those things for those time. And then she passed. And then I sort of decided, okay, let's get back to Kerry-Ann. And I started still consume my beverages, but I started implementing little things so I can get back into my wellness journey. So this year, 2025, I had this mindset, okay, what if I did this for 21 days just to reset my mind for a healthier me? What else do I have to do? Not just consume the beverages. I have to walk every day. I have to sleep right. So I can, there's a thing that says that you have to eat right, sleep right, poop right, think right. And that's Dr. Bob Rakowski, who is one of our mentors. So if you're able to implement this in your daily habits right now and improve upon it and challenge yourself for 21 days and see what happens to your body and your mind, it's a win-win. So I'm sharing with you to discover the wellness with our company, which is a health and wellness lifestyle company. And we're Canadian based, but we're in multiple countries, offering the treasures of the earth to the people of the world, which is called Ganoderma. So discovering this wellness came to us many years ago, and we're consuming it, and we never stopped. So just one small choice can have a lasting impact on you and I. And just want to share with you, did you know that there are 3 types of Ganoderma? I didn't know before. I never heard of this mushroom until about 12 years ago. But it grows in 3 stages. It grows in the Ganoderma stage, which is the fruiting body, mycelium, which is on the root, and then the spores, which sort of, goes into the air, goes onto plum logs, and it regenerates itself, regrow more of the mushroom. And ours is naturally grown on plum logs. And so meaning that we have this patent by utilizing this natural or certified organic mushroom versus others who are still organic but are artificially grown. So meaning that if you're putting something into your body that's not up, giving you the optimal best for absorption rate, you're not getting the full impact of the healing your body needs. For example, the pattern we have, it's like taking vitamins and sometimes you pee it out, so to speak, for lack of a better description. With this particular amazing process is that it stays 99.9% stays in your body versus others that are considered healthier, organic, pesticide-free, 4 to 13% absorption. So I'm sharing this with you as like a fact, not to bore you, but just to share with you the numbers. So mindfulness, positivity, and wellness is, mind, body, soul. When you're consuming the right thing, your body becomes more harmonized with itself. The homeostasis stage of you healing is what you give it. Now we have this mushroom, which normally, if you were to make it into a tincture, like the Asian community would do since how many thousands of years ago, it's quite bitter. If any of you've had Sena or Cerise or things like that, you know the bitter taste. Well, think of it worse than that. But the part that we have, you don't taste any of that. All you taste is the goodness of the beverages. I love chocolate. I gravitate to the cocoa. I love tea. I gravitate to the tea. You may gravitate to the coffee. But the great thing about it is that it's infused into every beverage we have. So you get the goodness of the reishi from every cup of, organic products that you consume. And I love the feedback I get because everyone's different, right? But in this case, what I'm sharing with you here is just a snippet of some of the products that we have. Royale is a new baby, so to speak, to our brand, but it's a little bit over a year, I believe. And as I mentioned to you, I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I fell in love with this one. And I may add more water than the average person because I'm not a strong coffee drinker, but I love mine with honey. You may drink it black or you're purist in the sense of just having strong coffee with nothing else, but this is what I like. But I love this because I found as soon as I consume, I find a big difference in my way of thinking, my brain fog. I find that I have more energy, more clarity, and I find other things in my body. And I may speak to you differently, but I'm going to share with you my story. So the Galadum is infused into this cup of coffee. It helps, as I shared with you before, the PubMed studies that it shows, all of these type of conditions it's known to help with. But all you're tasting is coffee, but having a great experience. Lion's mane is another mushroom that is been known in the Asian community that helps with your focus. Now, I'm sharing this with you because, with diabetes, other than, your kidneys, your liver, there's a third type of diabetes, which is diabetes of the brain. Studies are coming out now that those who are diabetic also have inflammation in the brain higher than the average person and it can cause to Alzheimer's or dementia or some kind of brain disorder. In one case, there's something called PICS. There's dementia, different types of dementia. There's Alzheimer's and other conditions, but these are the two I'm mentioning as the third type of diabetes. And I was shocked because in going to the workshops with my mom that were actually, we were invited to join these different workshops through our doctor. And they referred us to these workshops or a dietitian, and I went to them so I could learn how to care for my mom. So I learned all of these things, including how antibiotics impacts you as a diabetic or pre-diabetic. It actually reduces the impact of your insulin. It negatively impacts with your insulin production, especially if you're taking medication. So lion's mane, cordyceps, and ganoderma 3, wonderful mushroom in one packet of goodness. And this is called Royale. So like I said, all you taste is the coffee, but with the goodness of all of these things, plus, plus, plus. Now, I want to share with you one thing. I'm going to stop sharing here. Awesome. So I want to share with you some of these facts, but also share my story. But there's one lady I want to introduce to you. Her name is Maria. And so we've been friends for a very long time. And so I sort of know some of her journey, but I want to invite her to share her story. She is diabetic, and there's much more like her to share with you. But I'd like to invite you to speak about your story, your journey. Maria, are you there on off of mute? Okay, there you are.
I'm here. Good night, everybody. And once again, happy Earth Strong to Mom. And for everybody that's here, I appreciate you being on the call and for being, well, wanting to know more about your health. So, yes, with me, as I have a history with the diabetes, as my family, my grandfather had diabetes, passed away with diabetes. My father also passed away 2019 of in a diabetic coma, and he loved the King coffee. And with myself, I've noticed that throughout the 7 years I've been taking my sugar has not gone up, and my doctor has not increased no dosage of medication. All she has is taken it away, right? But since lately I've had an operation, she put me back on metformin, but I don't take it every day. What I do take is the spores. I take, we can say, around 6 a day, and it keeps my sugar level really good. And it also helps my PTSD, it helps my anxiety, and it helps depression. You know, in life you go through a lot, and honestly, I think I've stepped into the proper herb. I I stepped on the good mushroom because it's really helped me out a lot with my sugar. And I've also ran into two people that took the same medication as me that I was taking for diabetes. And he had stopped the medication in 1 week. The doctor took it away because his kidneys were failing. And I said, well, how can that be? Because I've been on that medication for 5 years and my doctor has not told me my kidneys are failing. But I know that I'm taking the herb, right? So that's proof right there. I'm here, I'm alive, thank God. And I'm really grateful that I know about this herb. And that's why I'm inviting people to the call so we can help other people, relatives, or anybody that you know, for them to live a longer life. Yeah.
Amazing. So I think Maria, one time you shared with me a picture of your machine with the test.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I.
And yeah, and you showed me how low it was. I go, wow. And then at one time you said your numbers were going down too low. So that's when your doctor took you off of the metformin because he was going too low because you're taking the spores as well as the metformin.
Yes.
Metformin or Janumet, I don't remember what you shared with me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they still have certain properties to help to reduce that. So the same thing with my mom when she had her second stroke, um, because of diabetes, they removed the dosage of the metformin at the time.
Okay.
They gave her the capsules I know she didn't pass away from diabetes. It was something else that she passed that we didn't know about. But I want to share that as well. But I thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you, appreciate your time, and praying for a remarkable recovery because I know you're going through some challenging time with your surgery. And all of what we send you lots of love and
Thank
healing
you.
prayers. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. So with this, I want to mention to you a couple things before I wrap up. Diabetes is not just diabetes. And when my mom had the first diabetic related condition, diabetic stroke, I had a lot of follow-up appointments with her. And one was, and this might be indicated for you or someone you know, they wanted to check her heart for 2 weeks to make sure that she didn't have any complications from that stroke, which was the diabetic related stroke. The second thing they asked me to look out for is signs of depression, which I didn't know that because anyone who has a heart attack or stroke, whether it's diabetic related or not, they have to look for those things. So I had to watch out for that. And because of this stroke, which was, sort of like a domino effect from the diabetes, I had to watch her heart monitor for 2 weeks at home. And then they found a little murmur in her heart, so they had to put her on a beta block. But that was the first stroke. And then, of course, for 5 years, she's operating fine, but not doing what she's supposed to do in the health capacity for her health journey. And that's what triggered the second stroke 5 years later, the same month, 5 years later. And so one of the things I want to encourage you, besides considering this as something to add to your health journey, is, mobility. The more mobile you are in the way of your movement helps. Also, positive mindset, because we can all get depressed and stressed out when we're going through a health challenge. And sometimes there's no one to talk to about it. One thing also we learned, because my mom passed away from pancreatic cancer with no signs, no symptoms, except a nosebleed. And then she was given 3 months. It's actually weeks, and she lasted 3 months. And she passed away, Jan 14th of 2 years ago. So when you go to your doctor, you're taking medication and you have diabetes or pre-diabetic or know someone, ask them to please check your pancreas, your level, your liver enzymes. This is something too that I was told that she needs to check because she developed jaundice. It's all had symptoms towards the end, stage 4. Another thing as well, your doctor, ask them to refer you to a registered dietitian so they can help you with your meal plan and what you're eating. And they can do it from home. So my mom, um, when she was not even the second stroke, the first stroke, the dietitian called, an over the phone conversation before COVID time, and she was able to give us direction how to prepare meals, what to do, what to have in the morning, what to have just before you go to bed that won't spike your sugar level. The other thing as well, ask your doctor if there are any workshops you can sign up for. There's some that are free in Canada on the OHIP that you can invite you to these workshops so you can learn more. For the dietitian, they refer you to another location, and the dietitian, there's a diabetic doctor that only focuses on people who have diabetes. And they can you go in there once a week or every 2 weeks, and they check your weight, they check your sugar level, all of that. And that's pretty good. So these are things I'm sharing with you that I had to do. I wanted to do to make sure my mother lived a longer life, but unfortunately, something else claimed her life. And I still want to be an advocate for health. So these are the things I want to share with you. And as I wrap up, I want to share with you one more thing. If your kids consider drinking coffee or tea, anyways, if that's your habit, or just consuming water, consider switching to this brand of Organo. Consider consuming something that's going to improve your health. Potentially do that because, like I said, everyone's body is different. And your body doesn't lie. It tells you exactly how it feels. So basically, you consume it, you feel it, you have a testimony. Consume it for 30 days. But I want to invite the person who is on this call, it speaks to you, to reach out to the person who invited you to this call. Reach back out to them, ask them, how can I get this product? How can I consume this and try it for 30, 60, 90 days? What can I do? And then they'll be able to guide you accordingly. Now, I'm going to open this for questions. I did see a question here, which I'm going to answer. So if you want to raise your hand for a question, I will be able to do that. But there's a question in the chat, and this is from Carmen. I'm just going to read the question. She had a seizure due to stressful times, and hopefully, Carmen, you're okay with me reading this out to everyone. It says, very rare that sickness at your age. It's very true. All right, I'm 53, you're 54, so we're in the same age bracket. And so you're having this seizure. So I'm so sorry to hear that. I know it's not an easy thing to go through health challenging, because it can cause not just your physical condition, but also, mental state it can impact you as well. So he said, what can I take to avoid side effects of the medicine? Now, I'm not sure what medicine they're giving you. I can share with you a friend of mine who she was in, her name is Natalie. She's not on the call, but she was rear-ended by a garbage truck as a bus driver. And the person was texting and driving, and she got rear-ended, and she was a TTC driver going to work. And she was okay to a point where she had to have, medication, but not where it was like causing seizures. And she took one of the medication and it triggered a seizure. And seizures upon seizures without her knowing she's having a seizure. But she's not falling down, she's just having a blackout moment multiple times a day. And then they realize it's a medication. So I'm not sure what medication you're taking. If you know what the side effects are, What I do know with the actual Ganoderma, there's no known side effects or negative interaction with the medication that I'm aware of. And in the studies, there's over 3,000 studies in the PubMed. If you need something specific on seizures, we can talk about that offline and I can send that off for you, or Maria or whoever is here can maybe share that with you. But the actual toxins from different parts like medication, environment, and so forth, the Gandalf is known to detoxify the body naturally. So taking out toxins from your liver, kidneys, body, and that way that you sort of the medication may do what it's supposed to do. I don't know what type of medication you're taking, but just to be also on the safe side, you can speak to a naturopathic doctor because they know about natural medicine, they know about Ganoderma and just say, I'm taking this medication. I want to take this product and get the green light. All right. And Deborah, are you okay with me sharing your story? Okay, so Deborah, who's on the call, she has, I don't want to say she has, her body has fibromyalgia. I don't want to claim that on her. Fibromyalgia and lupus. And so she had to change her whole diet. And so in her case, she started consuming the capsules because they're more potent because it's directly into the blood versus just the beverages. And she was consuming that for years. And then she started taking other things into place, like her diet and her activity and mobility, mindset as well. And so she was able to create something for herself, which included the spores and consuming the beverages like the Royale or the King coffee. And she noticed a difference over time. Now, will that work for you? I don't know until you start consuming the products. Then you can give us your testimony. But this is what I wanted to share with you, Carmen. Does that answer your question? Anyone else have questions before we wrap up? Awesome, Carmen.
Yes, I have a question. This is Cornell.
Hi, Cornell.
I wonder if you can share a little bit about yesterday with Devon in regards to symptoms that he experienced that sort of mimic diabetes, but it was
Yes. Thank you
spores
for that.
poisoning.
Thank you. So we had a friend who came over Sunday. He had kidney failure 2 years ago, shut down his kidneys, and they gave him a few months to live. They put him on 33 pills, and between you and I, he decided not to take them because he found that they were doing more harm than good, and he decided to go on a health regime. But the reason why he had kidney failure, and also his cousin in a different place, is that they unknowingly inhaled a lot of mold. And the mole, for years, his cousin, he lived in a basement apartment, and there was mold in the space. He lived there, and so he kept going to the emergency, and they keep telling he's diabetic symptoms. They're telling him all of these things. When he passed, they did an autopsy. It wasn't diabetes, it was mold poisoning. So the mole mimicked the diabetic symptoms. So I noticed someone said they live in a basement, so let's double check for that to make sure, because long-term exposure to mold is detrimental. It doesn't leave your body if you have it for exposure for long periods of time. But it's something that I learned on Sunday, which sort of shocked me. All right, so that's just something. Thank you so much, Corner, for that reminder. I wanted to address that, but then it sort of left my mind temporarily.
Yeah.
But
Just to input, I saw the person that said they live in a basement. What you could do, for here where I live as well, where Karen and I live, her husband, we did an air quality check. Even if the air quality in the overall house, the basement may have mold, but because you're in a closed environment, the air that's being circulated, the spores from the black mold, which is what's causing it, does spread throughout the house. So whether you're in the basement or on the first floor, third floor, if there's mold in the house, you have a chance of breathing the spores in. So the best thing is to get an air quality check. Depends on which area you are. I believe when we did our air quality check, this was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Mhm.
I can't remember how much it costs, but
You
they
need to do
sent,
the homework, yeah. They
yeah,
sent
they
some
sent
around,
us,
yeah.
they came in and they took a machine, and all they did was on each level, they put the machine and they run it for at least 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, they take that and they take the samples to the lab and they basically check it. Then they send you a report as to the quality of your home.
Yeah.
Thank God we had no negative impact on this
No, yeah.
household with any spores, so, or
Yeah.
black mold as they call it.
Yeah. So you can actually search online for someone who does mold testing, and then because we did do that, we just Googled it and we found one or two in our area, and someone came out to do it. So thank you for that, Cornell. Any other questions before we wrap up?
Yes, Pauline had a question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Let me just check what the question was. Okay. So Pauline, I'm not seeing it. Would I miss it? Could you just read out to me, Deborah? I'm not finding it on the chat. What the question?
No,
Does-
I was asking the question because
Oh.
I have few friends, like one with breast cancer and another one called me since afternoon because one of our daughter is diagnosed with cancer. I think the doctor said she have like lungs cancer now, like they see something in her lungs, and then I
Okay.
think something in her stomach. But the doctor was telling her like if she do not take the one that have the cancer in the throat, if she do not go on the chemo,
Mhm.
she will only have 1 year. But if she goes on the chemo, is 6 months. So she want to find out if there is anything
Yeah,
that can
so
take her.
I would say yeah, your doctor's advice. I'll share you with my cousin's story. She was it's in the year 5 now. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. And we all know what the benefits are, but I was like, it's my cousin. She's like my sister. So I'm still gonna reach out and ask. So I spoke with a naturopathic doctor and he said, get her on the spores right away. So
Okay.
she was diagnosed in one breast with cancer. And so the spores is a capsule form. I don't have a bottle to show you. Oh, here, sorry, this is what I consume. So this is the bottle. I forgot
Okay.
on the table. So this is the spores that I gifted my cousin. And so
Mm-hmm.
what it does, while you're doing radiation or chemo, it protects your organs and also
Okay.
helps the body to heal. So in her
Mm-hmm.
case, they were able to do the surgery. So I got her on the spores before the surgery, after the surgery, and doing her 20 rounds of radiation, and then after.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now when they went back and when they have I think 6 months later after the surgery, the same doctor, surgeon who saw her breast, he couldn't find the scar. He asked, was I the person who did the surgery? And we said yes. He goes, he can't find the scar. So she has one on her
Wow.
breast and one on her lymph nodes, right? So the lymph
Right.
nodes is very small now, the scar, but it was a big scar to remove
Mm.
that. And so she still has to take the hormone replacement pill for 5 years. She's cancer free,
Mm-hmm.
but when they also did the bone density, because that when you do chemo radiation, it robs your
Mm-hmm.
calcium, your bones, right? Her bones, she's 9 years older than me, so she's 63, 62. So it's 5 years ago. My math still works. And they asked her what she's taking because her bones were like a 20-year-old.
Mm.
And only thing she changed, what she incorporated was the Ganoderma, but also she changed her diet.
Okay.
She stopped eating things were too acidic. She incorporated things like soursop, tea,
Mm-hmm.
and the fruit. She made green smoothies. She started putting things like spirulina, because those are anti-cancer as well, to help the body as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when she was doing the
Mm-hmm.
radiation, that's the main thing because radiation and chemo, they're toxins going into your body to help you to heal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it protected her immune system, which it's known to do, according to PubMed studies, also known to help with healing the skin
Mm-hmm.
conditions, also helping to be anti-cancer. Now,
Okay.
I would say listen to what the doctor's saying, but also do your homework.
Okay.
Okay. So the
Okay.
information I'm sharing with you are facts, the information that you can actually speak to your daughter about. I'm sorry to hear about your daughter and your friend, you said?
And my friend and one, well, two friends, and one of
Okay.
them is the one daughter. Yeah.
Okay. And then for the lung cancer, so I think what we can do, I can send some information to you through, I'm sorry, I'm not sure who invited you.
Debbie, Deborah,
Oh, Debbie.
this is
So,
Pauline. Remember I met you.
oh yes, yes. I'm not seeing your lovely face, I'm seeing your name, so that's why. So I will send some information to Deborah about that with the PubMed with the lung cancer as well, so that you can share
Yeah,
it with your friend.
sure.
But the spores is like, think of the spore, the mushroom in 3 stages:
Mm-hmm.
the root, the body, and the spores. And the spores is 17 times more powerful than the other two. They all have their healing properties, but it's the most powerful. But think of like your cells regenerating. Think of the mushroom releasing spores to grow more. That's the circle of life, right? So you're consuming something that's going to have to regenerate your body. Make sense? Annette is asking a question. Is there any of your products that have a higher percentage of Ganoderma? Yes. All the products have the fruiting body of the mushroom, but besides the capsules, there is a king coffee, if you drink coffee, that has the spores, and that's organic coffee with the certified organic spores. Everything else has a fruiting body, and of course you can consume the capsules. I take both. I take the capsules plus the beverages. The ones that have sugar content, the cane sugar, like the latte, mocha, hot cocoa, the company adds more Ganoderma to offset the negative effects of sugar. Because those who are diabetic, you have something with sugar, it spikes your sugar. So what they did is they put more Ganoderma in those ones that have the cane sugar, so that those who are diabetic, their numbers don't spike after consuming something with sugar. Did that answer your question, Annette? Thumbs up? Any more questions before we wrap up?
Yes, it did answer my question.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
the capsules are readily available from you?
Yeah, anyone who's ever invited you, the capsules are readily available, yes. And we
You
have
invited me.
I'm not sure.
No, I'm saying you invited me.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Oh, is it Sean?
Yes. My phone will say Annette because when I put Sean, they always think of a guy. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's okay.
So my phone is under my middle name. That's why you see
Oh,
Annette.
okay. So your typical West Indian have two names and they call you one. I get it. Me too. Yes, they're readily available. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Some of that. Thank you.
Actually, I just saw the last bottle of spores yesterday, but I have the Ganoderma and the mycelium. I'm ordering more spores.
I like
Oh,
spores to my drinks.
Yes.
Add them to all of my coffees.
Yes, it's great. It actually, I found out it works best when you consuming something that's warm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm so happy that I was able to share this with you without crying. Like I said, today is my mom's birthday, and I am wearing her colors. Well, not her colors, but the color that we celebrated her life with. I didn't think I could do it, but I did. So thanks so much for your time. And health is wealth. If we don't have that, no matter what dreams and goals we're trying to aspire, if you lose that, it's for naught. All right. So let 2025 be the best year, starting your new journey of life as you level up on your health journey, and let's go arm in arm and just do what you have to do. And just one thing before I wrap up. The majority of you us are here. We are caretakers of some form in our life. Don't forget you. You are your biggest investment. Invest in you, your health, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And when you do that, that means you have more of you to give out, more of you to share, more of you to love, more of you to be able to embrace others with. But if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of you? Yes, you can depend on other people, but you have to be your advocate for you. So 2025 year, I know it's going to be an epic year for each and every one of you as you change the trajectory of your health. Have a blessed day, everyone. Take
This
care.
is such a beautiful presentation. Thank you so much, Kerry-Ann.
Oh, you're very welcome. Take care, my dear. Have a great
Okay,
evening,
bye.
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Deborah.
Good night.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Bye,
Thank
dear.
you very much.
Bye.
Very informative.
Good night.
Appreciate it.
Yes.